Love him or hate him, for the last decade, Ben Shapiro has been a popular voice in American politics. He has built a massive following of millions of people, both screaming his name in support, they love him, and also screaming his name in anger. The tweets, you guys, about this guy are insane. They're like I've never seen before.
You guys are so stupid.
From his quick wit debate style, which has made him insanely popular on TikTok and YouTube, to his humorous commentary on hot topic political and social issues, Ben's meteoric rise to fame has no doubt left both the politically inclined people who are following him for politics and mainstream marketers scratching their head with how quickly he became a celebrity. And not just a celebrity, but an A-list celebrity. Everyone knows who Ben Shapiro is. But how does one person get so many people to talk about him? Was his ascent a random turn of events or something more mysterious? Today I'm going to show you that the creation of the celebrity of Ben Shapiro was no accident, but a carefully constructed strategy that led to a cult-like following. To understand Ben's strategy, we first need to dive into the world of cults. What are they? How are they created? Let's get into it. Cults have been around since the beginning of man. Generally, they are formed because there is one charismatic leader who has a set of ideologies based off of religious principles that they themselves hold that they are then able to convince others to believe in. And so generally, people aren't following the religious principles, they're following the charismatic leader. So in that case, yeah, Ben Shapiro, he does have a cult-like following. But let's dive a little bit deeper, because I think what I'm about to tell you is going to open your eyes to a whole new world of how marketing is done. One core feature of cults is that they have a tendency, from an outside perspective, of bringing a lot of anger or hatred towards the cults, which is based in fear. Now, Ben Shapiro, from his cult-like following and from the people who oppose him, definitely has a lot of that. But here's where things get interesting with Ben. Before we can really dissect his cult-like following, we need to know how cults are started. So let's start a cult. I've always been fascinated with cults. Cults have always been very interesting to me. I've never been a part of one, but I'm always fascinated by what gets people motivated to want to join a cult. From the Branch Davidians, who had that huge thing in Waco in the 80s, to Heaven's Gate and the Kool-Aid drinking folks who would rather have died than have left their cult leader. Cults are absolutely fascinating. Why an ordinary person would have a desire to go and do something as extreme as what these cult leaders are able to get people to do. Now, one of the things I want to do in this video is give you an example of, if I were actually starting a cult, what I would need to do in order to get that to happen. There are two main processes for starting a cult. There are external processes and there are internal processes. The external are the marketing, the evangelism, the missionary work that is done in order to get people into your cult. That all has to start somewhere. So in my cult, this might be a little bit controversial based off of what is happening in the world economy right now with eggs, but I'm going to go ahead and say my cult is based around not eating eggs. Eggs are bad. Hold on. Let's do this right.
Eggs are bad for you. Do not eat eggs. You are not allowed to eat eggs. They are unholy.
Now that that's out of the way, we have a mission. No eating eggs. Eggs are bad. Now, I did just bridge the gap between health and religion by saying that eggs are unholy, and that is some of the languaging that you might hear in an ordinary cult. They might assign a label of unholiness to some act that might have absolutely nothing to do with spirituality. But that's how cults are created. I'm going to circle all back around to Ben Shapiro here in a minute, but we have to dissect what it takes to build a cult before we can dissect whether Ben Shapiro is an actual cult leader or if he's just very good at what he does. After we have our mission, it's important for us to recruit. And so how do we do that? We convince charismatic people, people who like to talk, people who like to evangelize, that our mission is a cause that they can rally behind and that they should share with other people. So with our cult of the eggless, we are going to go and recruit charismatic leaders. Where do we find charismatic leaders that are highly impressionable? How do we do that? We do that by looking in places where people are seeking transformation. So where are people transforming? They're transforming in college, right? They're just leaving their parents' houses and they're trying to go from kid to adult, and things are all out of whack. They're trying to find their own way. They're very vulnerable and highly susceptible. We do that in places where people are seeking spiritual transformation, like in Alcoholics Anonymous. We do that in counseling. We can do that by looking for people who are newly divorced and they're transforming from one era in their life to another. They're seeking some type of spiritual transformation. And we do that by selling belonging. You, in all of your flaws, are more than welcome to join our eggless cult. We take you. You are one of us. One of us. One of us. No one else understands you except for us. It's right out of the How to Make a Cult playbook. And I got a link down in the description below if you want to pick that up today.
Welcome to the cult of the eggless. If you don't like eggs, welcome to our group. Eggs are bad. Anyone who eats eggs are bad. Don't eat eggs. They're too expensive and they're bad. If you have ever eaten eggs in the past, you've been forgiven. I forgive you. But don't do it again. Otherwise, you will be shunned. In the community here, we love you. We love you for not eating eggs.
Dude, this is so weird. This is taking such a weird turn. All right, guys, and after we have the external processes down, then it's time for the internal conditioning. And we condition our cultees, we condition our followers through acceptance, through internal language, by repeating things, by making sure that there's no outside information that can come in. We do that by reinforcing the divinity of our leadership. That's how we build a cult. We are all in this together. And finally, we do this by creating an enemy. The people who are against us, the people who are the ones, the evildoers who are eating the eggs, those are the ones that we stand against. One of the most powerful tools in any marketing that you can do is having an enemy. Now that we've created our cult of the eggless, now let's go back and really push and really put things in perspective with somebody like Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro, does he have a mission that's easy to accept? Yes, he does. He's got a mission, stand against wokeness, and you can see this in all of the things that he does. It's all very fascinating, but he does have a mission. Does he sell lifestyle acceptance? No, not really. He doesn't really bring people into his program by accepting their lifestyle. He has one core set of principles that he follows, and if you want to be a follower of Ben Shapiro, if you want to be a happy follower, a supporter of him, then it's like you will either fit in with the way that he thinks or you will not. There's no mincing words. He doesn't manipulate or try to get people in and challenge their belief systems. He really wears his beliefs on his sleeves, and if you don't like them, then you will not join his cult-like following. Does Ben sell belonging? Well, in some cases, I suppose he does, because if you are a conservative, then he has created a home where you are more than welcome to speak your conservative values. And so I suppose that there is something there. Does he target extroverts? I think that he targets everybody, introverts and extroverts. He does have a team of extroverts who work for him at the Daily Wire. Matt Walsh, Michael Knowles, Jordan Peterson. These are all people who Ben has recruited, who work for him at the Daily Wire to reinforce the conservative values that Ben puts out into the world. Internally, is there insider language? Well, I suppose it's mainstream conservative language. So in a sense, yes. Does he have an enemy? Yes, the enemy is wokeness. Does he try to manipulate you to get you to do things that he wants you to do? Oh, I suppose that there are certain things, he's trying to sell his subscription service. He's trying to get you to get to the newsletter. So in that sense, yes. But does he manipulate people to do bad things? No. So from the perspective of being dangerous, is Ben Shapiro dangerous? No, I don't think so. I think that he's really, really good at getting people angry at the things that he says, but I don't think that he is dangerous. He's not pushing anybody to doing extreme things. He's challenging people's perspectives, and he's asking questions, and he's opening up a stage to debate. If you were to consider Ben Shapiro a cult-like leader, I think you'd also have to consider somebody like Hillary Clinton or Bill Maher or Steven Crowder. I think a lot of the times these political people are able to build such a huge following because of the us versus them marketing that they use. One of the most successful ways that you can grow any type of organic social media following. What are the principles that you stand against? Get your audience to also stand with you against those things, and you will also see success. So, in conclusion, is Ben Shapiro a cult leader? Well, in a sense, sure. But so is every CEO, so is every business leader, so is every thought leader. Anybody who is able to use these principles to grow a following based off of an us versus them, creating an enemy, selling belonging, those types of people technically are all considered cult leaders. So I think the more important question that you need to ask yourself is, who are you following and why are you following them? If you guys like this video, check this one out right here. This one's a really good one.